On here as well, Mario. Thank you so much for connecting this and making this all happen.
No problem.
So Martha, if you don't mind, let's just dive right in. I mean, the purpose of this call here is really just a discovery call. I'm just curious if, some of your business goals and objectives are in alignment with the stuff that we do and that I have a reputation for in the industry. And I'm not sure if Mario kind of told you our relationship. We're kind of like a strategic partnership between his agency and ours. We refer each other business back and forth very frequently. We work together closely on projects. But he mentioned that you were an agent. I see you're an agent for KW, and you're considering starting your own brokerage. So I'm really just curious, like, what's kind of your business objectives, or I guess that's one way to start. The other way to start is if you have any questions for me before we get started, now might be a good time to fire those away. Just so, yeah.
Yeah, great. Thanks for that. I'm not really, let's start with introducing ourselves, right? I'm a new agent. Basically, I've been in the business less than a year. I started 2016. I have a license since 2016, but I really didn't do much until last year. And I'm now with Keller Williams, and I'm still trying to find my way find my niche in the business, and basically, I'm trying to figure things out, and yes, I'm starting to somehow, I am to actually managing some transactions, but I'm still learning. So that's me, and I'm not. Yeah, I don't know anything about you. Up until this, so if you could just come in, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, Martha, for some reason, I was under the impression that you were trying to start a brokerage. So, what we've done, and kind of my track record in the real estate space, is we're the agency of record for some of the largest brokerage firms. So, we've worked with Keller Williams. We work with John Sheplack, who's actually the coach, one of the main coaches who comes to your guys' World Summit. He's a client of ours. Joshua Smith from GSD Mode. I could go on and on with all of the people and the names. They're pretty much the top 1% of realtors worldwide, rated by Wall Street Journal. The majority of clients we work with are brokers who are looking to recruit, build a team, or add an agent base underneath of them. We also work with real estate technology companies like SkySlope, LionDesk, Inside Real Estate, Conversion, pretty much all the big platforms, Big Purple Dot. We've done work for pretty much every single one of them. So whether it comes to recruiting, culture, to transaction management, there's no part of the real estate business that we don't have our hands in to some degree. The most recent case study we have is a company called My Home Group. They're based out of Arizona. They were 100% brokerage with a $299 transaction fee, but when they started working with us, they had 50 agents. By the end of the year, they had 350 agents, and now they're at almost 1,500 agents. They've hit Inc. 500 the last 2 years in a row for like 1,900% growth. I'd be happy to send you a link to that if you want to check it out. But those are the types of case studies that we work on. So from a business development standpoint, our main focus isn't necessarily working with the individual agent to help them get more transactions. It's actually working for the broker to help them acquire top producing agents, ISAs, and essentially building their team or building their company based off of that. So you're a new agent, it sounds like. You're with KW. Where are you located?
I'm in Bethesda, Maryland.
Okay, so in Maryland.
Yeah, right. She's close by to me.
So Yeah. So I mean, here's the thing, Martha. I mean, just from what you told me initially, it's not typically the type of stuff that we do, but we've done a lot of custom branding, like personal brand development for agents. You know, I'm very familiar with RESPA laws and what you can and can't do to promote yourself because you're listed underneath the KW brand. Everything has to have the Keller Williams logo on that. I mean, there are specific requirements, but that doesn't mean that you can't build a personal brand that you represent yourself with. Now, depending on the state and your actual branch manager of where you're located, like, I don't know, can you even modify open house signs or just listed signs or, you know, things like that? Or is it, or are you pretty much confined and stuck to the KW brand and what they provide?
There are some general guidelines that we need to follow, but everybody's, and that's what I like about KW here is that we are independent and actually have the flexibility of using or doing, not necessarily, we're not all using the same logos and the same graphics and so forth. So no, we're not confined to those limitations.
Well, good, because, I mean, the one thing I've learned and I've seen over my many years of working with realtors is that people do business with people. They don't care if you're with KW or with RE/MAX, you know, or Realty One Group. I mean, it's really a relationship-based business. So building your personal brand now is really good because I'll tell you what, the average shelf life of an agent working with a broker is actually about 3 years. It's rare to see an agent be with the same brokerage for over 5 years, mainly because models change, people change. There's, you know, it's just time. You know, as an agent, you're a free agent. You're essentially your own boss. You know, Keller Williams isn't really your boss. They don't make you get up and dial the phone or, you know, like you can do whatever you want. So, this is really like the career path that you chose to go down. You know, building a personal brand is probably something that is really important to you. I guess, tell me a little bit about your business objectives. Like, what's your initial target? And I mean target not by like your goals, but like how many transactions would you like to be doing? Like, what are just your overall business objectives right now?
Well, my target in terms of transactions, number of transactions within a year, I would like to do at least 24 transactions in a year. That's my minimum goal.
Okay. And I'm taking some notes as we talk about this. What's the average house price there?
I'm in between 500 and 600 where I am, because if you're in the sense that it's 600, 800 plus, well, the average would be about 800, and so where I am, it'll be 600,000.
Gotcha. And what kind of a commission split do you have with Keller Williams? Is it 70-30 or is it 80-20? Do you know what that is?
70-30.
Okay. So let's see, 70-30 KW. And then what is the average commission on a listing agreement? Is it 6%, 6.5%, 7%?
It's 6%.
Okay. 6%. You know, and the reason I ask is because the reason I ask is because it varies per state. You know, everybody's model is a little bit different. Okay, 6% average. Okay. Okay, so that's good. This is great. How many transactions have you done thus far?
Actually, 3.
3. Okay.
Since December of last year.
Okay, completed. Okay.
marketing and yeah. So I've heard about conversion, but I don't know a whole lot about conversion or Boomtown. No.
Gotcha. Well, just so you know, they're not training. So Bold is a proprietary thing that KW offers, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, here's the thing: you could essentially, if you have the budget, you could use Market Leader, Boomtown, Conversion, all these different platforms you
Yeah,
can choose.
of course.
I mean, what we find is that the one platform that works is the one you work the most. But Market Leader has never been, at least I've never seen it yield as much of a return as some of the other ones.
Right.
So the reason I asked, okay, so you're using Market Leader. I'm familiar with their CRM. Does Keller Williams provide you with a CRM that you can use to track your own deals? Does it have automated text messaging and kind of all the other bells and whistles that you expect from a CRM?
No, it's pretty limited in that we can obviously keep track of our contacts, send out newsletters, have them, send out postcards, flyers, so there's direct mail, there is email, and I think that's the extent of their capabilities. I don't pretty much. Yeah, it's
All right, so no, this is good. I'm just trying to get a baseline of kind of where you're at right now. Now, in your office, are there any other top producing agents? I mean, are you surrounded by any other influencers in the space, or are you just kind of working alone?
Yeah, well, I'm working alone, but I'm not alone. In that I have reached out to a couple of big top producers, they have their own teams, and they're done. They've been in the with the agency for a long time, but they also have are the $1 million+ listings, so that they're out there in production.
Right. So let me ask you. So we've talked about technology, we've talked about personal branding. I mean, out of all this stuff, what's kind of on the forefront right now? What do you feel like you need the most when it comes to kind of building your business? Because this is fairly new to you. I feel like you've done a few transactions. What do you think that you need to get to your goal of the 24 transactions? I mean, is it better technology, or is it really building a personal brand around who you are and what you do?
I think I need more exposure, and I do need to just get in front of people. With that, probably it would help, obviously, to have a brand, to have a unique my own message and my own brand, my own. I mean, I know I definitely need my own brand. I don't know that I'm quite ready to do that, to get there, because I'm sort of lacking the essence of it, or the expertise
we're going to have something that really connects your brand to your target audience, because there's a lot of different types of real estate transactions and purchases. So, I mean, you could be dealing with some people focus on just FSBOs, some focus on fix and flips, some focus only on buyers, some focus only on sellers, some want to work with single-family residents, some people want to sell sports properties, right? So I don't know who your kind of target demographic is, but our number one focus always from a branding perspective is to help you align your brand with your customer in the most meaningful way possible. So I don't want to get too deep into that, but I just want to let you know from an execution perspective, there's nobody more qualified than us to do this, especially with our track record. So, and I'd be happy to send you all that info. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and toot my own horn, but I just want you to know, like, when the time's right, you're in good hands. We'd be happy to help you, when that time comes. But I agree. I mean, I think you probably need to get a couple more transactions under your belt. One thing I wouldn't worry about, though, that you mentioned earlier, is you don't have the experience yet. I don't think people care about that. They want to know that their realtor is looking out for their fiduciary rights, right? They're looking out for their best interest. Now, if you don't know how to fill out a contract, that's okay. That's what your broker's there for. They do all the fine print, the paperwork. Your job is to hold the customer's hand, not to be a world-class contract writer, right? So I wouldn't worry about the technical aspect and feeling like you're not qualified. I think you are more than qualified to work with people, and that's kind of how I would position you as a brand. Is like, you care about the people, you care about the family. It's not about the four walls and a roof, right? It's about this milestone in somebody's life that you are helping them achieve by helping them kind of build this new life for themselves by moving into a new home. It's a lot more than just windows and walls. So that's how we always try to at least look at the situation from a consumer perspective. Is that this is one of the largest decisions, financial decisions you're ever going to make in your life. You might as well work with somebody who cares, empathetically about you and the family and your motivation for moving, not just about their commission check. So, when that time comes, we're here. I guess, do you have any other final questions for me before we jump off? Or Mario, is there anything else that you might want to add, or any questions that you guys have?
No, I mean, from my point, no, I don't think I have, well, obviously, I did have the obvious question is that, how much, how expensive are your services, what I'm trying to say, guys.
Right. Yeah, so here's what I can tell you, because we won't actually put together a proposal until we identify like what it is we're actually proposing. We're not big on prescribing anything before we do a little bit of research and kind of discovery, which is a lot of what this call is about. I can tell you we're not the cheapest company in the world to work with, but that's because we're very singular focused in our pursuit for helping the real estate market. So we're not like, we're an agency that does everything. No, we focus like specifically on this market. So we're very, very, I could tell you, you can already tell, like just from the questions that I've asked you, I understand the business and I understand what we're trying to do. You don't find that from a lot of your designers or agencies. They're just kind of like, can I design you something? Does it look good? Okay, cool. Well, I want to make sure that, first of all, it meets the laws, because I know we're dealing with laws. So to answer your question, our costs are more of that than you would find, from a high school or college level. We're more of an agency,
Right.
But we wouldn't price anything out without having a pretty deep discussion about what is it that we're doing. If you're looking for just a logo design, we tend to try to stay away from doing smaller one-off things. And
I'm more. Let me tell you a little bit about what I'm thinking, where my head is. I'm looking to create create a brand, and that means create the entire brand. I want to a picture, a complete picture of what that, for the next, so that I can use in the next, 5 years from that, at least 5 years, 2 to 5 years. So I want it to I want to be I want to create that brand. I want to present that brand to everyone who comes across, and have the message that conveys what I'm about and what I do, and it obviously in a professional manner. But I want it to be a complete picture, if that makes any sense.
So when you say complete picture, you mean like all the stuff, like first understanding who you are and the whole deep strategy thing, and then identity work and all the SEO, and then on your website, just everything, every touch point, basically.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think that answered or filled in what you were asking me.
Yeah, good. And I'm sorry I can't give you a definitive answer of how much does it cost. I mean, we have projects that range from $5,000 to $120,000. So, I just want you to know, our ranges, that doesn't really give you any sort of, it won't give you any comfort, but I don't want to give you any sort of appraisal without having more information. So, and we do a lot of that in our discovery process anyways, and Mario's extremely good at that, is kind of revealing, there's a few things. One is, what's our MVP? What's our minimally viable product? What are the minimum amount of things that we need to achieve a specific goal or to reach a target? And then what's the big picture? If I could have every single thing and money wasn't an issue, or budget wasn't an issue, what would that be? And prioritizing those things. So at the end of the day, I mean, again, our job is to align your brand with your customer, but also